Hello, hello. Welcome back, friends, to the Creating Wealth and Wellness podcast with me, Tara Missildine, and co-host Amanda Kingsley. We are here to take you on a journey today where freedom is cultivated through personal development, where women connect to fuel their futures, and where wealth is created as a byproduct of being well. Isn't that right, Amanda?
Good stuff, right?
That's why we are here every week.
Every time because you've been doing the intro, say that, I kind of like go back to that moment on my deck where we were like, this is what the show's about.
Yep. Even though sometimes it takes us to really new and unfamiliar territory. But today we are actually going to be in familiar territory because today we are going to be talking about books. We're going to be talking about some of our favorites, and then we're also going to be having a quick portion of the chat about the books we are currently writing because we are that ambitious to do everything that we
are
do
writing
and
books.
Write books. We are authors.
Amazing.
Okay, but before we do that, let's talk about our gratitudes. What's your gratitude today, Amanda?
My dog. She came to us at 7, and she's just been such a lovely addition. There was a short period at the beginning of the summer where our door was broken, and she kept busting out and running around the neighborhood, and she was not the thing I was most grateful then in those short weeks. But other than that, she's just such a blessing. It's been really lovely to have her.
That's very sweet. And she is cute, and she has 2 different colored eyes, right?
Yeah, she does.
One sparkly blue eye.
Hey, you know what's crazy?
What?
So I do a lot of my life coaching work with Jen Heilman, Feng Shui. She's been on the show before. And
we'll link to that episode too in case you didn't hear.
There we go.
Feng Shui. She's awesome.
We both have dogs with 2 different color eyes.
What? Wait a second. Are they the same color? I mean, like, are they the same?
Like a blue
both
and a
have
brown.
left blue eye?
Oh,
or are they opposite? Because that would be super interesting.
I don't know. I don't think to like that.
They might be like 2 different halves of like the same soul dog.
Yeah, it was so wild. Like, I think I knew. It was one of those things where I knew for a little while, and then it clicked. I was like, "This is so weird that we both have dogs with 2 different
because it's not super common. It's pretty unique.
Yeah. Anyway, what is your gratitude?
Okay, my gratitude today is for the gift that I have in attracting amazing people to work on my teams, particularly in my cleaning company. It was very clear to me today as like everybody is out working in like 100-degree heat. And I'm getting texts from people, but like everybody's kind of looking for some moral support, but I wouldn't call it whining. But they're just amazing people. And I've had like 2 unsolicited, phenomenal feedback messages from clients today about just my amazing team members. And this company would not be what it is without these amazing people.
That's awesome.
So many of them are so amazing. So that's
really cool. We went to a fireworks display last night up in Vermont, and we left, and I said to my husband, every time we leave that, I am so grateful for the company that runs. They have like 8 inflatable bouncy houses.
Oh, cool.
But this particular company that does it, and I should know the name, but I don't, because I don't ever think to rent bouncy houses, but the group of people who run those are like the nicest, most family friendly, like not your typical fair scene. And I'm always so grateful. I think, how did they gather such an amazing group of employees? That's like what I'm thinking when I'm there as a parent, sending my kids through these bouncy houses. Like, they're clean, the people are nice, like it's pretty amazing. So
yeah, it's very cool. I can definitely, maybe we should have a future episode about
hiring,
attracting teams and hiring, because it's something I feel really strongly about. And I do have some opinions. I don't know if they're facts or not, but they're opinions and science in the works.
That's a great episode. Okay, but today's episode
today we're going to be talking about books. And what we were thinking is, like, we wanted to share with you all some of the books that we have found powerful over the course of the year so far. And we can stretch that a little bit. Like, if you were reading a book over the turn of the year, totally counts, Amanda. Or like if it was still stewing with you. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. One I revisited this year that's just made such an impact. So.
Cool. What is it? Just jump right in.
Yeah, well, the revisit book is called The Life You Were Born to Live. It's by Dan Millman. And like this, the whatever, it says a guide to finding your life purpose. So this book I found probably 10 years ago. A friend introduced me to it, and it's like numbers. So you find your birth number.
Ooh.
But every time I revisit it every few years to like sort of, oh, what's changed? And I like grow more and more into my number. And it's just the most accurate, incredible book of this type that I've ever encountered.
Whoa.
I'm using it like very heavily in the life coaching work that I'm doing. And it's eye-opening, and just like, I mean, I'm literally getting in with people and being like, and it's very cool because as a reader, I would read some of the things about my numbers and then be like, well, now what? What do I do with that? If that's true about me as in my birth numbers, what do I do with it? And I never really knew. And so in my coaching work, I'm able to sort of process that with my clients. Like, here's what we know to be true about your birth numbers. What are we going to do about it? Let's talk about some tools to like use that. So anyway, that is a go-to favorite that's been very present for me this year.
That's awesome. Yeah. I love that. I want to read it.
It's so good.
I've never even heard of it. I want to read it. Okay, well, I guess I will take a turn. One of the books that I was actually reading, my birthday is on the winter solstice. So I'm usually doing something very like inner directed and personal around that time, from that time to the end of the year. And I picked up this book called The Desire Map by Danielle Laporte. And I like Danielle Laporte a lot.
Yeah.
But I had never read this particular book. And oh my gosh, did it put entirely new spin on the way that I set goals and envision the future of my life, and just like really dig in and ask those questions and allow the answers to be whatever they are, not what they're supposed to be. So I love that book. And I think that I probably will make a practice of like on a yearly basis reevaluating and kind of asking those questions of myself again and opening all of those pathways. But even the way that she presents it, I think everybody should read, because it's an entirely new way of looking at your own ambitions.
It's one of those books that's like, I feel like high at the top of the entrepreneurial, personal development and growth like lists. And it has been for years.
And where those two intersect. Yeah,
never
where personal growth and entrepreneurship intersect, for sure.
Yeah. And I think I have like a maybe Desire Map journal or something, but I've never actually sat down and read the book. So
it's good. You can borrow it if you want to. I have the physical
copy. I'm not a good book borrower.
No. Then you can't borrow it.
That's an interesting topic for who out there writes and destroys their books. Like, I'm an underliner, I'm a writer, I'm a page folder.
I'm pretty hard on them too. I definitely make notes and dog ear pages. My husband is the opposite. Like, he'll read these 1,200 page epic novels, and then they look like they've never even been opened. I don't even know how he does it. It takes him months to read it, and it looks pristine. Like, you can't even ever tell that like the binding was opened all the way.
Wow. Yeah, like the concept of the library is very beautiful to me, but I could never. Maybe for like a novel, I could certainly read a novel that I borrowed from someone or from the library, but anything with any juice, forget about it. So Desire Map, thank you for that. That's awesome.
I do really love that one. And that one's for like a very, very particular use, you know. Okay, what else? What else you got?
Well, I did just finish A Girl Wash Your Face by Rachel Hollis.
I listened to that too. I listened to that one audiobook.
Love it. I really, really loved it. I loved how and I follow her now, like in Instagram and the social media scene. And I just love how real she is. She's just so real and so like simple but profound. And
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's a great book. So
Relatable. That's how I would explain it.
very relatable. Yeah.
Yeah.
And funny but heavy, but yeah, really amazing. So if you haven't seen or picked up, or if you've been thinking about Girl Wash Your Face, it's a great summer read too, because it's broken up into these short little chapters, and it's just fun. It's a really fun read.
I will add a strange aside to that one. And I avoided that book for quite a long time because it kept coming up in the genre of Christian.
Yes, because it's by a Christian publisher.
Yes, I know. But, I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't even know how to classify my relationship with Christianity, but I don't tend to frequent Christian authors and like real heavy Christian thought. So I avoided it for a long time, but then I was like, it came up on my Libby as available, and I was like, let's just give it a shot. And she was fantastic. And while she does reference it as like a big part of her life, there's nothing evangelical or like, preachy or judgmental or anything like that would turn people off. And I'm pretty sensitive to a lot of that stuff. So just if you've been avoiding that book, or if you haven't noticed it because it comes up in that genre, take a look anyway. It's
good. I'm really glad you brought that up. I didn't know that when I bought it, and I got to the part in the book there she said something about the choice to publish with a Christian publisher, and I was like, what? Like, yeah. And I too am very sensitive, and it was, I'm really glad you brought that up.
Oh, so actually I'm sorry, I need to add like a sub-level disclaimer. I am not in any way against Christianity.
No.
I don't like anything that is presented as like the one, this is the one right way of being. So that's why I'm often sensitive to really fundamental, positions.
Yeah, which it is not. I
mean, it is not at all.
It barely even mentions religion in the whole thing.
Yep. And it's from her personal perspective of how it is important and how it has shaped her life and choices. So
good.
It was a good one. So let's see. I referenced this in another recent episode in the last maybe 4 or 5 episodes, but it was definitely one of my most powerful of 2018, and that is Things No One Tells Fat Girls by Jess Baker.
Oh, you did reference this recently.
Yep. Totally blew my mind. I absolutely love her. I love her voice. I love her mission. She's amazing. And she really opened this book. It has a really strong feminist equality, body positivity, self-love. I mean, the entire premise of the book is self-love and why it's so hard for us to have it because of the world that has shaped us. And I'm very aware of this topic, and still she blew my mind. Even if you are not fat or have never been quote unquote fat, or if you're not even bothered by the fact that you are fat, like, this is the world. It's a statement to the world that we live in, and how you can operate in a way that's so much more shaped by love to everyone else. It's not.
What do you think it would be like for teen girls?
What?
What do you think it would be like for teen girls?
Oh my God, they should absolutely read it, because I can't tell you how many not fat girls. Oh, she stated a statistic that children between the ages of like 7 and 12, and I'm kind of paraphrasing, but it's close, okay? Girls between the ages of 7 and 12 when polled, were more afraid of becoming fat than having both of their parents die.
Oh my!
What the hell? Pardon my euphemism. What the hell is this world teaching our girls if they are more afraid of the way that their body might be shaped than having both of their parents die? And like, it's full of that kind of, and it's very research based.
Creepy way.
Yeah, she is so smart and so well researched. It is not just an opinion. It is not just an activism book. There's so much research included that was like literally totally popped the top off my head so many times
Wow.
listening to this and explaining, how does mass marketing and media, has that affected us? Why the different phases that the world has gone through and what body imagery is supposed to be, over the last couple centuries and decades. So it is so worth the listen. It will open up so many lines of thought for people.
All right.
I
Well,
hope
I
that
do want to
everybody
read The Desire Map, but I'm going to go buy this book as soon as we're done.
I wish that I could buy it and make all of the people in my life read it. I really do. It is so powerful. I can't say enough about it. And I think it's like so it's so underserved right now because it feels like it's being marketed to a niche audience,
Yeah, it really does. Like,
it's meant for fat girls. No, this is what everyone in the world needs to hear. So, because we need to change our freaking world right now,
Wow.
And it's not just about body image. Like she talks about, racism and homophobia and all the ways that diversity is, drastically underserved in our world and feared.
That's great.
So, yeah, it's way cool. So that's probably that takes the cake for me as my book of 2018.
Nice.
Okay, so
yeah, do you want to tell us about your book? Yeah, tell me about your book. Because you are on fire.
I am so on fire with it. And people were talking like in the last week. This is a book that has been stewing in me for like 7 years. And I just recently got to the point where everything is like really starting to come together and it finally feels like it has a form now. I'm like, I feel 7 months pregnant, like baby's kicking for real.
Oh.
Baby's kicking, I'm hungry. So yeah, the premise of my book is kind of a self-help / memoir of all of the ways that I want to undomesticate myself so that my daughter never has to. Yeah, the lessons that I want to relearn or that I need to like unlearn that I picked up along the way inadvertently or was taught or absorbed, that have wounded me in ways and that I've been carrying around those wounds. So the title of the book is Undomesticated Daughters. And what I want it to be is kind of a collection of stories and lessons that show how we can kind of embrace our wildness and self-love again. And a lot of the messages are through my experience parenting a girl, and she's only 4, but I feel like so many of my truths have been confronted since becoming a parent, because I had to like actually assess every single thing that I believe as to whether or not it's something I want her to believe, if that makes sense. So there are 12 lessons in my book that I'm choosing to reassess, and like, this is what I believed. This is not what I want my daughter to believe. So how do I go about changing that in myself so that I can model something different for her, not just so that I can preach it to her, but so that I can let her form a more healthy truth.
Can you give us an example of one, or is that too
creepy? I don't really want to.
So I just want a little more is it like, okay, so in Girl Wash Your Face, she has like a lie I've been told, and then the chapter.
Yep.
Is it that? Is it like things you were taught culturally, things you were taught in your family? Like, what's the
totally both.
Both. Okay.
Yeah, totally both. And they're similar, I would say, similar to like, Rachel's lies and things like that, and what she disproved to herself. But okay, so for instance, I will give you I'll give you one. So the distinction between being superhuman, like, that was a lesson that I learned early on, is that I was supposed to be better than lots of people at lots of things,
Oh, interesting.
or I wasn't good enough. And so the distinction between being superhuman, which is something that people always describe me as, to being superhuman, like two separate words.
Right.
Like what we should be doing is doing the best that we can with what we've got. And this even like speaks toward people's body shapes and stuff. Like one of the things Jess Baker talks about in her book is that only 5% of people naturally have the genetic capacity to be shaped the way that we all see beautiful. The other 95% literally can't. They never will have those proportions.
Crazy.
So how unfair is that? So like that's one of them.
Yeah, and then, we do live in such a superhuman culture. That's a great example. I just wanted that, like, an example of something that.
Cool. I can give you one more too, and that is when I don't feel safe, I don't care what you want from me. Like, even like the idea of having to consent even to giving someone a hug, like even if it's a family member or something, like a super simple lesson for our kids. But, I should not have to sacrifice my feeling of safety to make you more comfortable.
Right.
Or to please you.
Ooh.
And there's lots of examples of where that goes, but that, like, those are the kinds of lessons that I'm talking about. Like, I want Aria to grow up knowing that, like, her feeling of being safe should never be the cost of pleasing someone else.
Yeah.
Period.
Okay, well, can you hurry up and write so we can all read
it? Thank you. I'm working on it. I'm working so hard on it. All right. So what about you? Because I know you are in the midst of writing a pretty transformational story as well.
Yeah, and I would say it's the exact same genre of sort of memoir self-help, but mine's definitely from an experience of having an abortion, which was a year and a half ago now. Like, which is one of those, the thing you never thought you'd do or have to do kind of transformational experiences. It was like, whoa, this huge life lessons in here. And I'm the kind of person who believes everything happens for a reason. And I really do believe that if you, there's a character in my book, and I say character because every time I use the term, I italicize it, but I call it the immaculate IUD removal. And I believe that it happened so that I could write this book. So whether that is the truth or not doesn't really matter because I'm writing the book.
Exactly.
And it was such a transformational experience that I knew I needed to write about it for other women, for other men, for the culture. And it's been a super powerful experience to actually write a book. I've thought about writing a book my whole life, and to sit down and actually go at it section by section is really incredible. And I am not a numbers person at all. I'm like I'm just not a numbers person, but it's been the task of writing a book at times has felt so insurmountable that actually the numbers have been really helpful for me. I'm like, okay, if I want about 80 to 100,000 words, like if I wrote 1,000, I just have to do that 80 more times. And I'm like, I can do that. I can do that 80 more times.
This is actually doable.
Yeah, but for so long, writing a book felt impossible. It was like, I'm not one of those, like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
But this book had to be written, whether I wanted to sit down and write it or not. I feel it's very much like a calling. And it's been so powerful. But it really is essentially about the self-help piece is trusting yourself and believing in yourself and knowing that you can do hard things if they're good for the greater whole. And releasing other people's stories. And it really is a book that I'm writing at first I thought it would be much more like abortion resource, because that's what I wanted when I was having mine. I just wanted resources. But it is much more life resource than abortion resource. And yeah, these really big, hard things come into our lives. For me, it was abortion. For other people, it's a car accident or cancer or
grief, losing a loved
one. Or losing a loved one. But it's what happens in that experience, not the experience itself, that needs to be written about.
Yeah. So let me ask you, because I know this comes up for me too, so I'm curious how you're going to answer this. Both of us are writing books that bring us to a really, really vulnerable place.
Lots of tears.
We're sharing some pretty, like some of the darkest, deepest corners of ourselves in these two books. And how do you process that? Like when that comes up and you're like, oh my God, like, there's a handful of people that I wish I could like do a Facebook release of this future book and be like, okay, but you can't see it. You can't see it. Like, there's a handful of you that I don't want to see this book, but everyone else I do.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Well, for me, that is one of the biggest stories that I'm letting go of. That is one of the biggest lessons of the abortion, was releasing what other people think and following my own truth. So
good.
I had, that's so strong for me that it's allowed me to heal that story that I've been told all my life. Well, I use heal. It allows me to be in process of healing because it's a big story, what other people think, and allowing it to run your life. So there's been a few places. I'd say my husband is the one place where I'm like, wait, can I put that out into the world? Like, this is his story too. So that's the one. But in terms of what other people think, to get started on the writing, I had to get really real about releasing that. And I did publish a very short article in Mothering Magazine, which I can link to.
Definitely.
That was very much a test run for me. Can I handle the haters? Can I handle the people calling me murderers and sibling killers? And, and so that little teeny tiny test was definitely the thing that allowed me to sit down and write, because I was like, oh, I can handle them.
And what was the general feedback on that, if you don't mind?
It was incredible. Yeah. It was
super supportive.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing your story. I mean, hundreds of people who said to me, I've never told anyone, but, or not that they said that exact thing. Tens told me I've never told anyone, but hundreds of people who said, like, I've wanted to talk about this, and there's not a space for it. So,
so powerful.
The feedback was incredible.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I'm sure that does help. I'm really proud of you for doing that as a measure of getting yourself there. Yeah,
big stuff.
Awesome. And it was a great article, so we'll definitely link to it in the show notes if anyone wants to take a read.
All right, so writing books. We went way over time.
Well,
good stuff.
Very, very good. That's what happens when the time flies by.
I know.
All right, well, let's wrap it up then with our asks. What do you have today, Amanda?
Well, I think the obvious asks is, what are your favorite books, right?
Yeah.
Send us, and I know we've released that joint place in social media, so send us individually, and we will share with each other your favorite books, or
even take a picture of the cover of your favorite book right now and tag us on Instagram. I'm at My All in Life.
Yeah.
Amanda is at Amanda Star Kingsley.
Yep.
Yeah. Tag us. We'll see you there. Till next time.